Musashi's way begins not on the battlefield where swords clash, but deep within the silent chambers of the mind. You learn first that the warrior's true contest is forged in solitude, where every breath, every thought, every hesitation is tested against the relentless hammer of discipline. There is no glory in the fleeting triumphs of chance, rather, resilience is the slow tempering of spirit, the patient forging of a blade that will not bend or break when the storm descends. You endure long before the enemy appears, for the mind must be a fortress unassailable by doubt or distraction. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you cultivate this inner citadel, knowing that the chaos of the outer world is but a reflection of the unrest within. In this embrace of the warrior mindset, you understand that resilience is no mere shield against hardship but the very essence of your becoming. It is not born from victory alone, indeed, fleeting victories are but sparks that flare and vanish, yet from the ashes of failure and the relentless resolve to rise again. Each moment of defeat is a lesson etched into your soul, a call to sharpen your resolve until it gleams with unyielding purpose. You sharpen your spirit in the crucible of repeated trial, knowing that true strength is the distillation of endurance over time. You rise not despite adversity but through it, for the warrior's path is carved in the unyielding persistence of daily battle. This journey demands that you turn inward, retreating from the clamor of the world to face the quiet battles that define your essence. It is here, in the solitude of reflection and preparation, that you build the foundation of resilience. You engage in the sacred practice of introspection, wielding the sword of self-awareness to cut through illusions and expose the raw truth of your nature. The external conflicts you will face are but shadows cast by the internal struggles of fear, uncertainty, and wavering will. By confronting these shadows first, you emerge not as a fragmented soul but as a unified force, ready to meet the tempest with unwavering resolve. Every decision you make, no matter how trivial it appears, is a battleground where resilience is either fortified or eroded. The mundane moments, the choice to rise early, to endure discomfort, to persist when the body cries for rest, are the unseen battles that sculpt your character. You sharpen your mind as the blacksmith tempers the steel, forging strength in the fires of discipline and sacrifice. You rise each day to meet these trials not for ease or fleeting pleasure but for the clarity of purpose that drives the warrior forward. The path is arduous, littered with the debris of broken ambitions and faltering resolve, yet it is here that you find your true mettle. Musashi's way teaches that resilience is cultivated long before the clash of swords, in the quiet hours when the world is asleep and the warrior's spirit is tested against the silence. This preparation is not a momentary act but a lifelong commitment to readiness and self-mastery. You endure the solitude, the repetitive drills, the mental rehearsals, for they build a reservoir of strength that no external force can deplete. In the crucible of these unseen battles, your mind becomes a sharpened blade, honed to perfection and tempered against the fires of relentless practice. You sharpen not just for the fight but for the inevitable moments when all that stands between you and defeat is the steadfastness of your own will. The warrior's mind is a fortress constructed through persistent effort, a bastion that refuses to yield to the tides of circumstance. You rise with intention, not merely to face what lies ahead but to transform every challenge into an opportunity for growth. Each hardship encountered is a test of your resolve, a call to deepen your commitment to the path of mastery. You sharpen your focus, knowing that the battle is not won in a single stroke but through the accumulation of countless small victories over self-doubt and hesitation. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you cultivate this unbreakable spirit that stands firm when the world seeks to unravel you. The essence of resilience lies in your willingness to confront life's trials as inevitable and necessary. You endure because you recognize that comfort is the enemy of growth, and complacency the adversary of progress. Musashi's way demands that you embrace discomfort as a trusted teacher, that you meet each challenge not with fear but with the calm certainty of one who has prepared for the storm within. You sharpen your mind and spirit with relentless practice, forging an inner steel that bends but does not break, endures but does not yield. You rise with every dawn, ready to engage the battle within and without, embodying the warrior's eternal vigilance. Introspection is the forge where your resilience takes shape. You withdraw from the distractions of the world to gaze unflinchingly into the depths of your own soul, confronting the fears and doubts that seek to weaken your resolve. This solitary preparation is not weakness but strength, for it is here that you learn to command your own mind and emotions with the precision of a master swordsman. You sharpen your awareness until every thought and feeling is under your control, every impulse tempered by reason and discipline. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you cultivate this inner mastery, knowing that the battle within is the crucible from which true resilience emerges. The warrior's path is marked by relentless practice and the constant refinement of both skill and spirit. You endure the monotony of repetition, the tedium of seemingly endless drills, because you understand that resilience is not a spontaneous gift but the product of deliberate, sustained effort. You sharpen your abilities through disciplined repetition, each motion an act of devotion to the path of mastery. You rise with the knowledge that every moment spent in preparation is a moment invested in your capacity to withstand the trials that will inevitably come. Musashi's way is a call to relentless perseverance, a summons to embrace the daily grind as the forge of unbreakable strength. You learn to recognize the value hidden in every struggle, seeing hardship not as a curse but as a crucible that refines your spirit. Each setback, every hardship, is a chance to deepen your resilience and sharpen your mind. You endure the pain and frustration because you know that resilience is the armor of the warrior, built layer by layer through the trials of life. You sharpen your focus, your discipline, your resolve, transforming each challenge into an opportunity to grow stronger. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you embrace the path of the warrior, knowing that only through such steadfast commitment can you achieve true resilience. Through this unwavering dedication to mental fortitude and readiness, you come to embody the true essence of Musashi's way. You understand that resilience is not a state to be achieved but a continual practice, a daily battle waged in the quiet moments of preparation and reflection. You endure the solitude, the failures, the relentless demands of discipline because you know that the true victory lies within. You sharpen your spirit until it becomes an unyielding force, a beacon of clarity and strength in a world fraught with uncertainty. You rise each day as a warrior of the mind, ready to confront whatever challenges life presents, grounded in the unbreakable foundation of resilience forged through Musashi's timeless teachings. You sharpen your awareness now to perceive the true nature of the battles you face, none more insidious than the conflict within. The external clashes of sword and steel are but echoes of the war waged in the recesses of your own mind. Fear, doubt, and ego rise like specters to cloud judgment and erode resolve. You endure this invisible siege, where the enemy is not an outside force but the tempest within your own heart. Musashi's way reveals that mastery begins with conquering these internal foes, for the fiercest battle is the one where you stand alone against your own wavering spirit. You rise by quieting the roar of fear, dismantling the fortress of doubt, and humbling the pride that blinds. The world beyond your control is a cacophony of distractions and opinions, each a potential snare to divert your focus and weaken your grip on purpose. You sharpen your mind against this relentless noise, cultivating a stillness that renders external clamor powerless. Society's shifting tides seek to unsettle your foundation, to sow confusion and hesitation, yet you stand firm, unmoved by the fickle judgments of others. You endure because your strength is anchored in self-reliance, your clarity forged through the persistent practice of turning inward. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you resist the seductive ease of complacency, knowing that distraction is the enemy of readiness. The unpredictable nature of hardship demands that you cultivate adaptability alongside focus. Life's trials come not as predictable challenges but as sudden storms that test the limits of your endurance. You sharpen your spirit to bend without breaking, to shift and flow like water while maintaining the unshakable core of your will. Musashi's teachings instruct you to prepare not for a single battle but for all battles, known and unknown, to develop a mind that is both fluid and resolute. You rise with the readiness that comes from embracing uncertainty, transforming the unpredictable into a crucible for growth. The battle within teaches you to meet adversity not with resistance but with unwavering concentration and calm. This internal mastery transcends every external conflict you will face. The sword in your hand is only as strong as the mind that wields it. You endure the silent war against your own fears and weaknesses, knowing that victory here renders every outward struggle surmountable. Musashi's way is a path of self-mastery that elevates you above the chaos of circumstance. You sharpen your insight to discern the illusions that bind you, cutting through the fog of distraction and ego to stand clear and unyielding. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you cultivate this inner strength, becoming a force that no external tempest can shake. The battle within is quiet but relentless, a constant test of your discipline and resolve. You endure the ebb and flow of emotions that seek to destabilize your focus, the whispers of doubt that attempt to erode your confidence. You sharpen your will through daily practice, training your mind to hold steady in the face of internal storms. Musashi's way teaches that resilience is crafted in these moments of trial, where the struggle is unseen and the outcome uncertain. You rise by embracing the discomfort of self-confrontation, knowing that only through this fierce internal discipline can you attain lasting strength. External distractions are the sirens that seek to pull you away from your path. The chatter of opinions, the allure of fleeting pleasures, the pull of societal expectations, all these are forces that threaten to unravel your focus. You sharpen your discernment to recognize these distractions for what they are, tests of your commitment to the warrior's way. You endure their seductive power by anchoring yourself in purpose and self-awareness. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you cultivate a mind that is vigilant and unwavering, a beacon that cuts through the fog of confusion and indecision. Adaptability is not weakness but a profound form of strength. You sharpen your capacity to adjust and respond, to meet the unpredictable with calm and precision. Musashi teaches that rigidity is a path to destruction, while flexibility anchored in discipline leads to survival and triumph. You endure the shifting tides of life by cultivating a spirit that can flow around obstacles without losing its essence. You rise by mastering the art of balance, between strength and flexibility, between focus and openness. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you prepare yourself for the myriad ways adversity may manifest, transforming uncertainty into opportunity. The battle within is the forge of resilience. You endure the conflicts of ego, which demands recognition and fears insignificance, learning to subdue its cries for control. You sharpen your humility, understanding that true power lies in self-mastery, not in the approval of others. Musashi's way reveals that the warrior's strength is born from quiet confidence, a steady flame that burns beneath the surface, unaffected by external praise or criticism. You rise by embracing this inner sovereignty, standing firm in your truth regardless of the world's shifting judgment. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you embody the disciplined spirit that moves beyond ego to find unshakable peace. This internal struggle is ongoing, a lifelong commitment to vigilance and growth. You endure the moments when doubt creeps in, when the weight of expectation threatens to break your focus. You sharpen your resolve by returning again and again to the core principles of discipline and self-awareness. Musashi's way is not a destination but a path walked with unwavering dedication, each step reinforcing your capacity to withstand hardship. You rise daily to meet the battle within, knowing that this is the true measure of your strength and the foundation upon which all external victories rest. The external world will always seek to test you, but your greatest challenge is the mastery of self. You endure the silent wars of the mind with the same ferocity you would wield a blade in combat. You sharpen your mental defenses, creating a fortress that no fear, doubt, or distraction can breach. Musashi's teaching is clear: the ultimate battle is not with others, but with the self. You rise by conquering this internal battlefield, forging a resilience that radiates outward, shaping your every action and response. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you embrace this truth and commit to the relentless pursuit of self-mastery. In this sacred struggle, you find the essence of the warrior's spirit. You endure not because it is easy but because it is necessary. You sharpen your mind and heart through the quiet, unseen labor of overcoming the internal adversaries that would undo you. Musashi's way calls you to stand resolute, to meet every challenge, internal or external, with a clear mind and an unbreakable will. You rise each day prepared to face the battle within and without, embodying the disciplined strength and unwavering focus that define true resilience. You sharpen your discipline as the cornerstone of your resilience, understanding that true strength is forged not in moments of ease but through the relentless crucible of sacrifice and repetition. Discipline is the unseen labor, the quiet force that propels you beyond fleeting motivation and superficial effort. Musashi's way commands you to embrace this often tedious path, for it is in the daily grind, the early rising, the relentless practice, the refusal to yield to comfort, that your spirit is tempered like the finest steel. You endure because discipline is not a chain that binds you but a liberation of the will, a means to mastery and unyielding strength. Comfort is a seduction that weakens and diminishes the warrior's resolve. You rise above the temptation to seek ease or compromise, recognizing that such indulgence corrodes the foundation of your discipline. Musashi's teachings warn that the path of least resistance leads only to decay and vulnerability. You sharpen your resolve by rejecting this false refuge, choosing instead the rigorous path of continual effort and sacrifice. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you forge an unbreakable habit of endurance, a commitment that holds firm even when the body screams for rest and the mind longs for distraction. Seize the moment. This is the clarion call that echoes through Musashi's philosophy, urging you to transform preparation into opportunity. You sharpen your readiness with relentless practice, knowing that true advantage lies not in waiting for favorable conditions but in creating your own through unwavering discipline. Each repetition, each drill, each act of focused effort builds a reservoir of strength that you draw upon in the heat of battle and in the trials of life. You rise not passively but actively, shaping your destiny through the power of constant preparation and deliberate action. The mind and spirit must be trained not for ease but for struggle, the inevitable opposition that defines the warrior's existence. You endure the discomfort of rigorous training, the monotony of repetition, and the sacrifice of immediate pleasure because these forge the resilience necessary to confront intense adversity. Musashi's way is a testament to the power of endurance, teaching that the warrior's readiness is not a fleeting state but a sustained condition cultivated through disciplined effort. You sharpen your capacity to withstand hardship, building a spirit that remains unbroken even in the face of overwhelming challenge. Commitment to self-mastery is not contingent upon recognition or reward. You rise independent of external validation, driven by an inner fire that demands excellence for its own sake. Musashi's way reveals that the true warrior seeks no applause but the quiet satisfaction of continual growth and unwavering resolve. You sharpen your focus on this solitary pursuit, understanding that the path of discipline is often walked alone, away from the eyes of others. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you dedicate yourself to the relentless refinement of mind and body, knowing that this is the essence of strength. Discipline is the armor that protects you from the erosion of resolve. You endure the temptations to falter, the moments when fatigue and doubt threaten to undo your progress. Musashi's teachings remind you that these trials are not obstacles but integral parts of the journey, essential to the forging of true resilience. You sharpen your ability to persevere, cultivating a mindset that embraces hardship as a necessary forge of character. You rise with the knowledge that each act of discipline, no matter how small, adds to the unbreakable foundation of your strength. The risks of complacency are the greatest enemies of growth. You sharpen your vigilance against the subtle decay that comes from settling into comfort or allowing ambition to wane. Musashi's way is a constant reminder that the warrior must remain restless, always seeking to improve, to refine, to push beyond previous limits. You endure the discomfort of relentless pursuit, understanding that true mastery is a horizon that recedes as you advance. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you commit to a life of perpetual challenge and self-overcoming, where every day is an opportunity to rise stronger. Relentless preparation creates opportunity where none seems to exist. You sharpen your readiness not only for known battles but for those unforeseen, cultivating a spirit that is vigilant and adaptable. Musashi teaches that the warrior's advantage lies in the ability to act decisively and with precision when moments of crisis arise. You endure the discipline of constant readiness, knowing that this preparation transforms uncertainty into strength. You rise by embodying the principle that opportunity is forged through sustained effort and unyielding focus. Training the mind and spirit is a sacred duty, not a task to be undertaken lightly or for transient gain. You sharpen your commitment to this lifelong discipline, recognizing that it is the foundation of resilience in moments of intense struggle. Musashi's way insists that the warrior's strength is not a gift but a conquest, achieved through persistent labor and unwavering dedication. You endure the sacrifice of comfort and ease, embracing the rigorous demands of training as the path to invincibility. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you cultivate a spirit prepared to meet any opposition with calm and power. The essence of endurance lies in the acceptance of hardship as a companion on the path of mastery. You sharpen your capacity to withstand pain, fatigue, and frustration, transforming these trials into catalysts for growth. Musashi's teachings reveal that the warrior's spirit is strengthened not in the absence of difficulty but through its relentless presence. You rise with resilience born from this understanding, welcoming challenge as the forge that tempers your will. You endure because you know that only through sustained struggle can true strength be attained. Commitment to continuous self-mastery requires a profound inner resolve that transcends circumstance. You sharpen your dedication to this path, knowing that the warrior's journey is endless and that each day demands renewed effort. Musashi's way calls you to embody the discipline of the warrior not only in moments of conflict but in the quiet hours of preparation and reflection. You rise with the understanding that this commitment is the wellspring of resilience, the source of unshakable strength that carries you through every trial. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you walk this path with unwavering determination. Discipline and endurance are the pillars upon which your strength is built. You sharpen your awareness of their vital role, seeing each act of sacrifice and repeated effort as a brick in the fortress of resilience. Musashi's teachings illuminate the necessity of these virtues, urging you to embrace the often unseen and unglamorous labor of training. You endure the monotony and hardship because you know that these are the ingredients of mastery. You rise by embodying the relentless spirit of the warrior, steadfast and unyielding in the pursuit of excellence. The warrior's path demands that you forge a mind and spirit prepared not for fleeting ease but for enduring struggle. You sharpen your capacity to meet opposition with calm resolve, to stand firm when the world seeks to overwhelm you. Musashi's way is a call to relentless perseverance, a summons to embrace discipline as the source of true power. You endure the sacrifices required by this path, knowing that only through sustained effort can you achieve the resilience necessary to triumph. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you commit yourself to the lifelong journey of mastery and strength. Through discipline and endurance, you become the embodiment of Musashi's teachings. You sharpen your readiness, your resolve, and your spirit, transforming the daily grind into the forge of unbreakable strength. You rise each day to meet the challenges ahead, not as a victim of circumstance but as a master of your own fate. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you walk the warrior's way with unwavering focus and relentless determination, building a resilience that will stand firm against every storm. You sharpen your mastery over emotion and thought, recognizing that true resilience springs not from external circumstances but from the calm dominion of the self. The tempest of chaos will rage around you, yet within the warrior's heart there dwells an unshakable peace, born of command over the restless tides of feeling and impulse. Musashi's way teaches that without this mastery, the spirit is vulnerable, swayed by anger, fear, or distraction, while with it, you become an immovable force, serene and resolute amid turmoil. You endure the battle within by cultivating this sovereign calm, forging a mind as steady as a mountain and as clear as still water. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you command your inner world with unwavering discipline. Self-reliance is the foundation upon which this mastery is built. You sharpen your understanding that true strength is born from within, not granted by others nor found in fleeting alliances. In the crucible of solitude, you learn to depend solely on your own resources, your will, your discipline, your clarity of purpose. Musashi's way reveals that the warrior's power lies not in external aid but in the unassailable fortress of self-trust. You rise by embracing this independence, knowing that only through self-reliance can you stand firm when all else falls away. You endure because you carry within you the source of your own strength, eternal and unyielding. Lifelong dedication to self-discipline is the path that transforms hardship into power. You sharpen your resolve to meet every challenge as a forge for the spirit, each trial a hammer stroke shaping the steel of your character. Musashi's teachings remind you that the warrior's journey is not measured in moments of ease but in the steady accumulation of deliberate effort over time. You rise each day committed to this sacred labor, understanding that mastery is born in the relentless refinement of mind and body. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you embrace struggle as the crucible that tempers and strengthens your resolve. Acute self-awareness is your weapon in the battle for inner power. You sharpen your ability to observe your own thoughts and impulses with the precision of a master swordsman, discerning the subtle shifts that signal distraction or weakness. Musashi's way teaches that without such vigilance, the mind is a wild horse, prone to veer and falter in the face of adversity. You endure the discipline of constant self-examination, cultivating a clarity of awareness that allows you to steer your spirit with deliberate intent. You rise by mastering this inner art, maintaining readiness not only for external trials but for the subtle battles within. The warrior's path is defined by focused strength and clarity, a sharp contrast to the aimless wandering and indecision that ensnare so many. You sharpen your purpose with unwavering intent, cutting through confusion and hesitation like a blade through mist. Musashi's teachings remind you that indecision breeds vulnerability, while clarity of mind and steadfastness of will are the bedrock of resilience. You endure the discomfort of decisive action, the courage to commit fully to your chosen path. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you embody the disciplined spirit that distinguishes the warrior from the lost. Mastery over emotion and thought grants you the power to remain centered amidst chaos. You sharpen this inner stillness so deeply that external upheaval cannot unsettle you. Musashi's way reveals that the calm mind is a weapon more formidable than any blade, a source of strength that defies the shifting tides of fortune. You endure the storms of life by anchoring yourself in this tranquility, refusing to be swept away by anger, fear, or despair. You rise through the mastery of self, a beacon of clarity and power that stands resolute in the face of every trial. Self-reliance demands that you cultivate a spirit impervious to dependence or doubt. You sharpen this independence by embracing solitude as a necessary crucible, a place where your strength is tested and proven. Musashi's teachings reveal that reliance on others is a weakness that the warrior cannot afford. You endure the loneliness of this path, knowing that it is here, in the quiet forge of self-trust, that your true power is born. You rise by standing alone and unshaken, carrying within you the unbreakable core of resilience. The path of lifelong discipline is a solemn vow to cultivate strength through continual effort. You sharpen your commitment to this journey, recognizing that every hardship faced is an opportunity to deepen your mastery. Musashi's way teaches that the warrior's growth is a process without end, a relentless refining of spirit and skill. You endure the weariness and frustration that accompany this path, knowing that these are the marks of true dedication. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you embrace a life devoted to the ceaseless pursuit of self-mastery. Self-awareness is the sentinel guarding the gates of your inner fortress. You sharpen this vigilance, detecting the subtle encroachments of doubt, distraction, and emotional turmoil. Musashi's teachings emphasize that without such acute observation, the warrior is vulnerable to internal defeat before external battles even begin. You endure the discipline of constant mindfulness, cultivating a mental clarity that allows you to navigate the complexities of your own mind with precision and calm. You rise by mastering this inner battlefield, maintaining control over the forces that seek to undermine your resolve. Focus, strength and clarity distinguish the warrior from the aimless. You sharpen your ability to act with purpose and determination, cutting through hesitation and confusion. Musashi's way warns that indecision is a silent killer, eroding resilience and leaving the spirit exposed. You endure the discomfort that comes with decisive choice, embracing the courage to commit fully to your path. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you embody the unwavering focus that defines the warrior's way. The mastery of emotion and thought transforms chaos into opportunity. You sharpen this skill until your mind is a calm sea beneath which the currents of turmoil swirl unnoticed. Musashi's teachings reveal that such inner tranquility is a source of immense power, allowing you to respond to adversity with clarity and poise. You endure the trials of life by anchoring yourself in this stillness, refusing to be swayed by the tempests of external circumstance. You rise by commanding your inner realm, a fortress of resilience and strength that no storm can breach. Self-reliance is the bedrock of your enduring power. You sharpen this principle by embracing the solitude that tests and confirms your strength. Musashi's way teaches that the warrior's true might is found not in alliances but in the unwavering trust placed in one's own spirit. You endure the isolation that this path demands, knowing that it is in standing alone that you find true freedom. You rise by cultivating an indomitable self-trust, a power that remains steadfast regardless of the shifting tides of fortune. Lifelong dedication to discipline is the warrior's solemn charge. You sharpen your resolve to meet every challenge as a forge for your spirit, each trial a hammer stroke shaping your character. Musashi's teachings remind you that mastery is not the fruit of chance but the harvest of persistent effort. You endure the weariness and struggle of this path, knowing that these are the hallmarks of true growth. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you walk the path of relentless self-improvement, forging strength through unyielding commitment. Acute self-awareness is your shield and sword in the battle for inner power. You sharpen your capacity to observe and regulate your thoughts and emotions with precision. Musashi's way teaches that without such vigilance, the mind becomes a wild force, prone to distraction and turmoil. You endure the discipline of constant mindfulness, cultivating a clarity that allows you to steer your spirit with deliberate intent. You rise by mastering this inner terrain, maintaining readiness for every internal and external challenge. Focus, strength and unwavering clarity set the warrior apart. You sharpen your purpose, cutting decisively through confusion and hesitation. Musashi's teachings warn that indecision breeds vulnerability, while clarity and resolve form the foundation of resilience. You endure the courage required to act decisively, embracing the discomfort of commitment. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you embody the disciplined spirit that defines the warrior's path. Resilience is not a destination reached but a path walked daily, a lifelong discipline woven into the fabric of your existence. You sharpen your commitment to this enduring practice, knowing that each moment, each breath, each choice, is an opportunity to reinforce the invisible armor that shields your spirit. Musashi's way teaches that life's indifference is constant and unyielding. It offers no promises, no mercy, only challenge and change. You endure this reality with steadfast courage, meeting obstacles not as curses but as the very means by which you forge your strength. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you embrace the relentless rhythm of preparation that defines the warrior's path. Life does not pause or soften its blows for the unready. You sharpen your readiness through consistent, unwavering discipline, cultivating a spirit that stands firm regardless of the storms that assail it. Musashi's teachings reveal that resilience is built not in moments of ease but in the quiet, persistent refusal to yield when hardship strikes. You rise each day to meet the countless unseen battles within, the internal struggles of doubt, fear, and temptation that threaten to unravel your focus and resolve. You endure these with the warrior's unbreakable spirit, knowing that victory is not a single event but the sum of daily acts of endurance and strength. This invisible armor you wear is forged in the fires of hardship, tempered by the steady hammer of perseverance. You sharpen your capacity to transform struggle into growth, seeing every trial as a catalyst that deepens your resilience. Musashi's way teaches that adversity is not an enemy to be feared but a teacher to be honored. You rise by embracing the discomfort and pain that accompany growth, knowing that these are the crucibles in which your spirit is refined and your strength made lasting. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you welcome hardship as the sacred forge of your becoming. The call to readiness is eternal. You sharpen your vigilance, understanding that the battles you face are not isolated events but part of an ongoing war waged within and without. Musashi's teachings remind you that the warrior's life is one of perpetual preparation, a ceaseless honing of mind and body for the challenges yet unseen. You endure the burden of this ceaseless vigilance, knowing that complacency is the enemy of survival. You rise by embracing this duty, embodying the spirit of the warrior who stands ready at all times, unwavering and resolute. The countless unseen battles within demand that you cultivate an unyielding spirit. You sharpen your inner strength to confront fear, doubt, and temptation with unwavering resolve. Musashi's way reveals that these internal conflicts are the true measure of your resilience. You endure the silent wars of the mind, wielding discipline and clarity as your weapons. You rise each day with renewed determination, prepared to face the invisible enemies that seek to undermine your focus and will. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you embody the warrior's eternal vigilance. Resilience is a daily practice of engagement with life's relentless challenges. You sharpen your mind and spirit through consistent effort, building a foundation that cannot be shaken by circumstance. Musashi's teachings show that the warrior's strength is not a fleeting gift but the product of persistent labor and enduring commitment. You endure the monotony and hardship of this path, knowing that each act of discipline adds to the unbreakable fortress within. You rise by embodying the relentless spirit that transforms struggle into unyielding power. The indifference of life demands your steadfast courage and preparedness. You sharpen your readiness to meet whatever trials arise, refusing to be caught unprepared or broken by adversity. Musashi's way teaches that resilience is the armor forged through this unyielding preparation. You endure the uncertainties and pressures of existence with a spirit fortified by discipline and clarity. You rise each day as a warrior equipped not only to survive but to thrive amid the chaos, embodying the strength born from relentless preparation. Hardship is the catalyst for growth, the sacred fire that tempers your spirit. You sharpen your ability to embrace struggle as the means to deepen your resilience and refine your character. Musashi's teachings remind you that without hardship, mastery is impossible. The warrior's strength is born in the crucible of challenge. You endure the pain and frustration of growth, understanding that these are the necessary trials on the path to true power. You rise by welcoming hardship as the forge that shapes your unbreakable spirit. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you walk the path of enduring strength. The call to readiness echoes through every moment of your life. You sharpen your vigilance, knowing that the battles you face are unending and often unseen. Musashi's way reveals that the warrior's spirit is defined by perpetual preparation and unwavering focus. You endure the burden of constant readiness, recognizing that complacency is the enemy of survival and growth. You rise by embracing this eternal call, standing resolute in the face of every challenge, prepared to meet the unknown with strength and clarity. The unseen battles within are the true test of your resilience. You sharpen your inner strength to confront fear, doubt, and temptation with unwavering discipline. Musashi's way teaches that these internal conflicts are the crucible in which your spirit is forged. You endure the silent wars of the mind, wielding clarity and resolve as your weapons. You rise each day with renewed determination, prepared to face the invisible enemies that threaten your focus and will. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you embody the warrior's eternal vigilance. Resilience is the daily practice of meeting life's relentless challenges with unwavering strength. You sharpen your resolve through consistent effort, building a foundation that no adversity can shake. Musashi's teachings show that true strength is the product of persistent labor and enduring commitment. You endure the monotony and hardship of this path, knowing that each act of discipline adds to the unbreakable fortress within. You rise by embodying the spirit of relentless perseverance, transforming struggle into unyielding power. Life's indifference demands steadfast courage and constant preparedness. You sharpen your readiness to face whatever trials emerge, refusing to be caught unarmed or broken by adversity. Musashi's way teaches that resilience is the armor forged through this unwavering preparation. You endure the uncertainties and pressures of existence with a spirit fortified by discipline and clarity. You rise each day as a warrior, equipped not only to survive but to thrive amid chaos, embodying the strength born from relentless readiness. The fires of hardship are the sacred forge of your spirit. You sharpen your ability to embrace struggle as the path to deeper resilience and mastery. Musashi's teachings remind you that without challenge, true power remains out of reach. The warrior's strength is born in the crucible of adversity. You endure the pain and frustration of growth, recognizing these as essential trials on the journey to mastery. You rise by welcoming hardship, knowing that through it your spirit is tempered into an unbreakable force. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you commit yourself to this lifelong path of enduring strength. The eternal call to readiness resounds through every breath and step. You sharpen your vigilance, aware that the battles you face are ceaseless and often unseen. Musashi's way reveals that the warrior's spirit is forged in perpetual preparation and steadfast focus. You endure the burden of this constant watchfulness, knowing that complacency is the foe of survival and growth. You rise by embracing this eternal call, standing unwavering in the face of every challenge, prepared to meet the unknown with clarity and strength. You sharpen your spirit for the countless unseen battles that define your existence. Musashi's way teaches that resilience is the quiet, relentless practice of meeting life's trials with unwavering discipline and clarity. You endure the silent wars within, transforming struggle into strength and adversity into opportunity. You rise each day as a warrior of the mind and heart, embodying the unbreakable spirit forged through relentless preparation and steadfast resolve. Not for comfort, but for clarity, you live the eternal path of resilience. Let the spirit guide you.